Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 11 of Direwolf20's Let's Play Satisfactory series, where today I'm planning to use some of the things we prepared last episode. So last episode we got a bunch of steel cooking, I think. And today I'd like to bring that steel back to my base. I want to make sure I have plenty of these things. Maybe I don't need well, we'll see. We'll figure out how many we need, I guess. But I've got a bunch of resources here ready to go. How am I doing, by the way, on these? I've been letting this run for a little bit. Yeah, we're getting close to filling this lineup. And once it does, it'll really increase our rotor production, which there's other ways that I have planned to increase our rotor production, because we're going to want to do that. But, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. So let's head over to where our stuff is right now, and we're going to see how to use tractors and, let's see, truck stations. Yeah, truck stations and tractors well, you know what I need is more cables. I should probably grab more cables while I'm here. In order to transport resources from distant locations on the map. So this is a good way for long-range transport. There are other long-range transport mechanics. We will eventually get into trains and drones, but we're not quite there yet. Those are a much higher tier of technology. This is the earliest tier of long-range transport. These are tractors, and there's even a higher tier tractor at one point that we'll get into, which will be trucks, I think they're called. But yeah, for now, the main takeaway here is we're going to be transporting resources from over there to over here. And what I'd like to do is make sure that we have enough room over here for our steel to come in, and then we're going to process the steel into the two components that we can make right now, which if we look into our construction, let's just look up a constructor real quick here. So I'm just going to rotate this bad boy. This constructor, we want to do steel beams, right, which are going to need 60 steel per minute to make 15 beams per minute. So lots of steel needed per beam, okay? And then we also want to make steel pipes, which is 30 steel per minute to make 20. So in total, we're going to want 90 steel per minute if we want one of each of these. Okay, 90 steel per minute if we want one of each of these. I want to say we're doing 120, right? So we could probably do like 2 pipes. I feel like beams we always needed more of, though, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Because, you know, when you first build these, you don't know. But if you've played the game before, you're like, oh yeah, I remember needing steel beams a lot. Steel beams we definitely need for Mark III belts, which is going to be important for us. So we'll make sure that we have a lot of steel beams. So I think we're doing 120-ish. Is that about right? Is that what we're doing? 120-ish? So we'll figure that out. Let's see. So we're going to head off in this direction. And I need to remember exactly how much steel we're producing. And what we're probably going to do... Now, there's also... What's interesting is there's concrete right here, too. So this feels like the perfect place to set up steel. But we'll see. Look, all the steel we have. Look, we backstuffed the whole steel production line. That is awesome. But we're doing 45, and 45 is 90, plus the 30 is 120. So yes, 120 steel per minute is what we're producing right now. So part of me is saying, like, we've got concrete right here, and I'm more thinking into the future. But should I be producing the 2 resources here, or should I bring all my steel back to my main base and produce it there? That's kind of a tricky-ish question. I don't know. There's a reason I'm thinking about that. There's a higher tier resource of steel that requires concrete, and I'm thinking, like, man, wouldn't it be cool to stick a concrete node right here, pick this up, and make that thing, and make everything over here. This feels like a really nice spot to do that. But then what would happen is I'd need to send that stuff over to my main base, and I don't know how easy that would be. And I don't think we have access to anything yet that'll allow me to split based on item type. I don't think. Right? Because we have the splitter and the merger, but all that does is, like, split. It doesn't let you say, like, send these items there and then send these other items over here. So I'm thinking we'll do all the steel production. We'll bring it over. So what I want to do now, then, is let's create ourselves a truck station. Does that sound cool? And the truck station's going to chill right here-ish, I think. So if I were to do this... Now, truck stations do require power, so we're going to want to tap those into some kind of power line that we've got over here. Do we have one, like, right here-ish, or do you kind of go right there? So what I'm going to do is disconnect you. We're going to set up a power line here. and then we'll let you guys go back to that. Cool. And then this power line can tap right into this guy. Now there's two inputs here. One is for fuel, and the other is for items. And we can figure out which is which by just guessing, for the most part. And then this is output, by the way. So you'll notice that when we copy our truck station, right, you'll see the green output, two inputs. So I'm pretty sure this is the one that does fuel. I'm pretty sure. And this is the one that goes, you know, items going in. So if we want, we could have a Mark IV belt going into here. And that's all we got to do to start storing our steel ingots that we're producing directly in the middle slots here. Perfect. Now for you, what I'm going to do is set up a conveyor lift Mark I. And we'll set it up like this. Just a little bit high. And then a splitter on the coal production here. So remember we have a coal line coming in here, and all of our steel production goes in like that. I'm going to split this guy right here. And then I'm just going to real quick run this over to here. Look at that. So a Mark III belt going over to here. Or a Mark I belt, sorry. It's on slot number 3. See, number 3. So I keep calling it a Mark III belt. But it's a Mark I belt. And then that coal will make its way straight over here. Now there's ladders on our storage containers, so we should see that happening. Hooray! Sweet. So the coal's going to come over here. It's going to go right into there. And then that's going to feed fuel into the fuel slot. And then steel will go into this inventory. So as you can see, there's a massive backlog of steel ingots that are being produced over here. Like it's going to store a ton of inventory right here, and then once that's backstuffed, this will backstuff. So it's going to be a while before we completely backstuff all the steel, and that's okay. We should have coal landing in there right now. There we go. Nice. So the configuration for the truck station is really quite simple. It's either you're in this mode or this mode. So this one is unload, which means this station is meant to take items out of trucks or tractors. This mode is load, which means this station is meant to put items into trucks or tractors. The good news is that it'll load both from the fuel slots and from this here slot right here, right? So I'm going to steal a little bit of coal right now. Give me that coal. Split it, put it in there, okay? And then, so with this in load mode, we should be ready to go. So that's cool, right? So now what I'm going to do is head home and build another truck station. All right, so now what I'd like to do, if I may, is get another truck station over here. And I'm gonna face it this way. And I'm keeping it quite a distance from here because I want to make sure we have enough room in case we want to expand this platform out a little bit, right? So if I want to expand the platform out a little bit because we need more space, we'll be able to do that. Now the conveyor belt's going to come out here. So let me actually boop this guy. Sweet. And I'm going to use a Mark II belt because I want this thing to come out as fast as possible. That looks good. And this thing's simply going to be configured to unload resources. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's super simple. The only other thing I might wind up doing then is tapping into a power line. And that's important. Now, the next thing we want to make is a tractor. Now, this tractor we can place, but we need beacons. Beacons are made in our equipment workshop. And the equipment workshop, we can make beacons with these things. So we're going to need 5 of them. Okay? And that's what's needed to make your tractor. And the tractor is a very simple little truck dude. He's super cool. That's it. That's how you place him. Super easy. I actually, I'm just going to rotate him a little bit. I want him to face this way at the moment. It doesn't matter. I could obviously get in and drive him. But tractors are awesome, right? So in the back here is a workbench. You'll see there's fuel, and then there's inventory slots. There's also a craft bench here, which is cool, right? But we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of fuel in here for now. And we're going to jump in the tractor to drive it. Oh, look at this cool little guy. Look, you can even see my character standing on the back. Watch. Whee! You can see my hand moving as I, like, you know. And then as I turn the wheel, you can see me. How cool is that? It even renders me, like, you know, steering and driving and all the good things. It's super cool. And you can see on the bottom my current speed, the current fuel that we have. I'm burning through it like nobody's business, so I should probably get to work. So what we can do here is if you hold... I want to say it's E. Hang on. V. You can see that there's a few things we can do. So from this interface, we can teach a path for the tractor to drive, and then enable autopilot, and it will automatically drive itself between those two locations constantly until it either gets stuck on terrain for some reason, because you did a bad job of creating a node path, or until it runs out of fuel. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start recording right here. And you'll see on the bottom right, it says recording vehicle path. Autopilot active, no. I'm just going to drive right into this area and kind of stop right here. And you'll see this little thing come down. It'll grab whatever's in my inventory, in this case nothing, and deposit it in the building. And then I'm going to head on out. And we're going to try and drive our way over without too many obstacles to get to my steel location. Okay? Now, you'll also notice I doubled up this thing so that there was more space. I also, up top here, kind of flattened it out, and then have a downwards ramp that goes into the terrain a little bit, just so he wouldn't get stuck. And now I want to basically drive right under to here, and then stop. And you see on the bottom right where it says loading? Truck status, loading. How cool is that? As long as you're in the general vicinity underneath it, you're good, right? And then we're going to drive right on back. So I'm just going to spin right around. And you'll notice there's these little arrows showing up. That's what's up. That's your path. So you can use the arrows that you created to drive on back. How cool is that? Huzzah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to stop right here. And then I'm going to open up my thing, and we're going to finish recording. And I'm going to get out. So what you'll notice is, with the path here, there's a node, a bunch of nodes. There's two types of nodes. There's a pause node and a play node. Okay? The pause nodes are where the truck stops. Now, I happen to start recording in a spot where I don't want him to stop. So I can hit E to edit the node here. You can specify how long he waits, or you can just delete the node. And it removes it entirely from the progress. So this thing should now, and also if we check in our fuel, look, we've got coal. It loaded up the coal when we were at the other station. And we get more than enough coal to support driving back and forth between these two locations. So we don't need to feed coal on this side. We can just fuel it from the other side. Okay? So what'll happen is this guy will drive over to here. He'll pause for about 7.5 seconds. We'll leave that. And then he'll drive along. And then he'll pause over there to pick up items. And then he'll drive back. So if we hop into this dude, we should be able to turn autopilot on and see if it works. So now we just hop in the driver's seat. We bring up the thing and we enable autopilot, the top option here. And that should be all she wrote. Go. In theory. Enable autopilot. I might be, yes, you have to get out of the vehicle for it to autopilot. So look, it's going to come over here. It's going to take all the resources out. It's going to put them all into the truck station, which will now start unloading out the back here. See that? And then the truck drives itself over to the other truck station. How cool is that, huh? And it follows those node paths, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw it on the radial menu there, but there's an option to hide the node paths. So they'll always be shown unless you hide them. So if you don't like seeing them, you can hide them. If you don't care, then you don't care, and you leave them there. It's up to you, right? So I'm just going to babysit this tractor for a minute, make sure he gets to and from safely. And once he does it once or twice, he should be in pretty good shape to be able to do it. Cool. Hopefully he doesn't get stuck. Occasionally he would get stuck on some terrain things. Hopefully he doesn't stick too much. We'll see. But if he ever gets stuck, we'll just have to adjust his route, right? So now he hit the pause node here, right? So he's receiving his steel ingots. So he emptied the steel ingots out of here. And then he's paused again for 7... Oh, that time he paused for 10 seconds. That's fine. We'll just leave that as a 10-second pause. That's no big deal. And then he drives back. How cool is that? So now we're ferrying items back and forth between the two locations, between the two truck factories. Is that cool or what? In my opinion, it's cool. Nice early game, long distance traveling. Could we have set up conveyor belts to run this ferry? Absolutely. It would have been a lot of resources to do, and it would be a lot slower because this is doing way more than 60 items per minute, right? And doing way more than 120 items per minute. It can transfer a really, really large amount of resources very quickly. If you consider, I mean, even if you factor in travel time, just like it takes, what, a minute to transfer this many stacks of items? Like, it's huge, right? And it's only limited by stack size. If we were doing concrete, it would be even faster. Cool, right? So that's how that works. So we've got steel production over here now, and we're ready to start automating it. So let's get a few things ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, I think, 3 of these, and we'll see if that fits, right? So I'm thinking... So we're doing 120 per minute. So I'm going to do 90 for steel beams, and I'm going to do 30 for steel pipes, right? So that means for this, I'm going to just drop it down to 50%. Boop. So close. There we go. 50%. Don't forget you can type into that field, right? So that'll use 30 beams per minute. So that'll be 60, 30, and 30 more over here for the pipes will be 120. Now, if it turns out that I need more steel pipes than I thought, I could always convert this thing into steel pipes really easily, right? So not a problem. So let's go over here, and what I'm going to do is have splitters set up. You're going to import out the back. Now let's do this the cool way. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. Well, you don't want a splitter. There you go. Boop. I thought you would... Oh, are you not remembering your settings between... That might be the case. Ah, yeah. I think this screen is bugged, so it doesn't remember your settings. So we might have to turn that on every time we launch the game, which is not the end of the world. But you can see now, it's rendering... It actually renders the conveyor belt that it's going to place, which is cool, right? So if we wanted to do that, we could just do 1, 2... Okay. And now these guys should be Mark II belts. Look at that. That is cool. Isn't that awesome? Smart is just such a neat mod. So this drop-down, one of these I think tells you which tier of belt to use. So like auto, I think will just do the highest unlocked belt, so it'll always use tier 2 because that's what I've unlocked at this point. Or I could specify for tier 1 or 2. You know, these 2 checkboxes connect splitters and mergers with poles and belts. Auto connect to buildings, you know, obviously yes. When detecting buildings with auto connect, either set the spacing vertical size offset automatically or manually. Yeah, highlight auto connect belts with green color. Copy recipe from first building at auto connect. Sweet. So there's some cool stuff you can do with Smart. Like I said, that menu screen I think is one of those things that broke between versions, so it's a little messy right now, but you'll get the idea. If you do any changes to a building using Smart Mod, hold mode will be turned on by itself. So rotate, point, and then start doing something, and the building will stay there. Ooh, yeah, I do like hold mode. I think I do want auto hold mode on, don't I? Because that's one where you can like lock it in position. I like that. Sweet. Okay, so anyway, I'm just having fun with Smart at this point. We should now be able to... What I'm going to do... So does that hold... Oh, look at that. I didn't have to hit the hold button. I didn't have to hit the hold button. That is what's up. That is super duper what's up. So close. It's tricky from a distance to get it right. How's that look? Nice and tight? I like that. Cool. So now 120 items per minute coming through here, right? Because this is a Mark II belt entirely. Right? So that is sending all your items this way. Belt's nice and saturated. We're going to send all those items into here. He's going to start producing once we get some power lines cooking. Are you capable of doing a thing? You are. I really need to get better power poles. I really do. Cool. But now you guys are all going to start running. And if I wanted to help, you know, back stuff this along, I absolutely could. I'll just drop all my steel that I have into these guys, and they'll start back stuffing, right? So right now it's doing 120. It splits it into 60 and 60, but eventually this will back stuff, right? And back stuff, and then back stuff. And that should be cool, right? Now wait, I thought I did you as steel plates. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want. Yeah, I want 2 steel beams and 1... How did I do this wrong? Did this change when I did the... It might have, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I have to go look at the recording. Did I just derp that up, or did... It's possible, because there's a setting in here... Copy recipe from the first building at AutoConnect. Yeah, that's what happened. So turning that off is important. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Neat. So now you guys are going to want to merge into one of these. So let's do a merger. Okay. Oh, hello. I didn't realize you were going to do that. That's cool. I appreciate it, but I just didn't know it was happening. Okay. And then that can go into a storage container right here. And then you'll just go straight into that storage container. Right? And now we've got steel beam automation plus steel pipe automation. How cool is that? I like it. Now, how did you get in here? I didn't put a power shard in you, did I? Did I click that in by mistake? I don't remember doing that. But yeah, no, we should be good now, right? And these guys should all be running at 100% efficiency. So that should be perfect. Nice. Now, our truck should be running. So within a minute, he should show up here. I'll come back in a minute once he does, just to validate that he's still going back and forth and didn't get stuck anywhere. Hey, look at this. Here comes a tractor. Hey, little buddy. Thank you. You're doing a good job. I am proud of you. Let me tell you. What a lovely little AI guy. He is just awesome. He's bringing me my steel. And like I said, that's just going to run now. Like, we're done. We're good. This thing should run endlessly, and we don't have to think about it anymore, or worry about it anymore, or nothing. Right? So he gets a bunch more steel. This guy, if we open up his inventory, we'll see he's got plenty of fuel in there. Looks like it uses about 7 fuel per trip, so 14 round. And he gets 100 of a buffer. So, you know... Like, yeah, technically tapping into that coal line slightly impacts the production speed of steel. But not enough to like, lose sleep over, right? So, hey, that's cool. Now, let's head over to here and see what we can unlock as our next big thing. So, we're going to pop in and just see. Also, how's my power doing now that we cooked up a bunch of... Keep an eye on your power, don't forget. Remember, some things are turned off. Like, these guys aren't using any power right now because they're not working. They're done. They finished. We've backstuffed all our cables. So, as we expand our factory and as we backstuff resources, we're going to have less of a problem. But, once we start using those resources to craft other things in the future, those power demands are going to quickly catch up to us. Keep that in mind. So we could get resource sync going. That would be cool. I do like resource sync. That's a nice one. Advanced steel production gets me the miner, gets me the encased industrial beams, the stators, the motors, the automatic wiring, the heavy modular frames. This is a big deal right here. This is a huge deal right here. This is a nice one to have, not gonna lie. That's pretty cool. More inventory slots, an extra hand equipment slot, and a Xenobasher? Yes. Hypertubes, also super cool. Love me some hypertubes. We're gonna have fun with that. And Logistics Mark III gets me power storage, among other things. So does advanced steel production sound like a good time? I feel like it does. And I feel like that's what we're gonna get. But we need a lot of rotors for that. Holy cow, do we need a lot of rotors for that. We should go check in on our rotor situation. But getting advanced steel production unlocks Miner Mark II, which means that we can get more resources out of our nodes, and we can rapidly bump up the production of materials, right? Like, once we get that, we can make more rotors and all the other things that we're going to need. How are we doing on rotors? Not great. Not great, Direwolf. Not great on rotors. They are pretty meh. Pretty meh. But also, once we backstuff this thing, we only need a handful more smart platings. Then we'll have rotor... It'll double our production of rotors, so that'll be kind of cool. Not bad. Okay. I'm going to do this and sort that. That looks good. So, at this point, I think we're just going to wait for a few more. Oh, look at all that. That's awesome. I think my two priorities, I think, then, should be advanced steel, so we can get our Mark II miner. And that'll also give us a lot more things to automate, like a lot more things. As you can see, there's like 4 or 5 new resource items that are going to be unlocked with that tier. So I think this is going to be the next thing I'm going to select as my milestone, right? Because we're gonna get a lot from that. So we'll have more things to automate, which will be important. But then also, most importantly, the Miner Mark II, which doubles the resource rate extraction. And then from there, I wouldn't mind doing Logistics Mark III and maybe even Improved Melee Combat. Both of those would be nice to have, too. Improved Melee Combat is kind of like a side thing, but having the Xenobasher would be nice. It's a much better weapon all around. So yeah, let's select this milestone. I'm going to pop in, just so we have all the things. I'm going to want more concrete for sure. Now my concern is concrete. How am I going to get concrete over there? It's going to be a real hassle. I'm not even going to lie about how much of a hassle that's going to be. Because we're going to need concrete over there where our steel production is. Right? That's why I was debating, because I know we need concrete for these encased industrial beams. Right? So we're going to need some more of you and some more of you. So let's come back in a few minutes once I get all the things I'm going to need to get. What do we got going on here? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yes, you. Perfect. Yep. So I just need to get a bunch more rotors. I might wind up manually crafting those. So we'll come back in a minute once I've got that covered. Oof. These rotors are slow. Luckily, I handcrafted a bunch of them just now, so we should be cool. Also, how's my steel coming along? So we handcrafted off camera there just a ton of stuff. So that should be going pretty good. I'm going to snag... Oh, yeah, look at that. That's what's up. That's what's up. And a bunch of this, too. Absolutely. Absolutely, that's what's up. Whee! So we should be good to get our advanced steel production line going now. And once we have that up and running, I can start thinking about how I'm going to do limestone over there and where it's going to come from. Because I don't want to tap into our concrete that we're making over here, because that would just be like belt all the way across. That would just be really ugly and a mess, right? So I don't want to do that. But we should have enough resources now to hand in everything we need and unlock, dun 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 dun, advanced steel production.
Milestone reached. Logistics can be improved with a larger storage container, enhanced conveyor belt efficiency, as well as the ability to store excess power for later use. An additional project part can now be constructed. Further progress to the next phase is now possible.
Sweet. She said something about storing electrical energy, but I don't think that that's true. And she also said an additional part. Didn't she say something about... I feel like that was the message for Logistics Mark III. Because she said something about faster conveyor belts, larger storage, and battery power. None of that applies to what I just got. I think that's a bug. I think we just identified a bug. I think that we got the wrong ADA message for that one. But anyway, we've got the Miner Mark II, which we can now double the speed of our mining. Awesome! Encased industrial beams, stators, motors, automated wiring, heavy modular frames. All these things are super important for what we want to do. So let's take a look at how some of this is made. So I think all of those are made, actually, believe it or not, in the assembler. And we can go check out the recipes for all of them right now. So encased industrial beams are super easy. It's just those steel beams that we've been making already and add concrete. And then you get these guys, which are used for quite a few things. If memory serves me correctly, these are used for tier 4 belts, which we don't even see yet, but trust me, that's a thing, and that's, you know, what we'll use. There's a handful of other things that they're used for as well. Stators are copper wires and the steel beams. So we're gonna have to run our copper stuff over there. Motors are rotors and stators. So we're gonna need more rotors. Everybody celebrating yet? And versatile frameworks we unlocked. Remember, we need those guys. Automated wiring here is gonna be something to unlock in the space elevator. We got to send that up, and that's going to be stators with cables. So basically our cables and our copper wires are going to want to route. We're probably going to like connect to these guys, and then like really high up in the air up here, I'm going to run them all the way across so that we can connect in and bring them down where they're needed. That's roughly my plan. Now you'll notice that there's a couple things not in there. Dun dun dun. Heavy modular frames are not in here. Because they require 4 items to be combined. We need screws, we need encased industrial beams, the steel pipes, and the modular frames. So we don't have those in the assembler because the assembler can only combine 2 items into 1. Spoiler alert, once we unlock the next tier of research, we're going to be able to combine 4 items into 1. And that's what we're going to need to do. But at least for now, we can craft those manually as needed. And I think that's the only one that is currently unlocked but not automatable. Cool. So the next major milestone, like I said, I want to do is also going to be Logistics Mark III. So I'm going to select that as a milestone. Actually, we have the ability to unlock that right now. We just need to wait for our pod to come back, which is going to be in 6 minutes. So maybe we'll just unlock that next episode. But before we wrap up here today, because we are getting close to that wrapping up point, I'd like to, if I can, see if there is a limestone node somewhere nearby here. There's one right over there. That's not what I want, either of those. There's one over there, 296, huh? 260 meters in this direction might be a cool place to tap into, because that's not too far. So we could run our limestone. 260 meters is not far. That might hurt a little bit. That's going to hurt. Not that bad. But if we tapped into the limestone node that's over here, that could be super cool. Now, of course, it just happens to be dark again, but hopefully it's not too dark. Can I turn on my flashlight? Yeah. Uh-oh. I hear grumbling. So there's a... Hey, here you go. That's what's up. Okay. So I'm just going to break this little chunk off here. So we might wind up feeding this limestone in a sneaky way to get over there. What do we think? How do we feel about that? Because this is an impure node. Is there another one here, or is this like it? Is it just an impure node? It's just this impure node right here. There's another one 223 meters off in this direction. Which, again, not what I would call ideal distances. So we either want to do that, or what we could do is tap into the node that's over by our steel production lines. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to figure that out. Let me think about it. Now, are these? Yeah, that actually is another... Okay, so there is another one here. This is another one right here. This is actually a normal limestone. And look, there's some weird stuff here. Got you. There's a couple weird things here. There's sulfur, but this is just a little sulfur outcropping. This isn't actually a node. It's still a limestone node, as you can see, but there's also something else that's unique. And I'm wondering if it has a use yet, because it didn't in previous versions. Sam ore. Sam ore. I think there's one Sam ore node per map. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly? Sam ore, Sam stands for strange alien metal. And that's about all I know about it. In Update 3, it did not have a use. So there was absolutely no use for it. I think a mod or two added a use for it, just, you know, for the heck of it. Now, that said, I don't know if Update 4 has a use for it yet, because I haven't gotten to the end stage. I assume that if Update 4 is going to have a use for it, it would probably be in, like, the Tier 7 and 8 range, right? Would be my guess. But I honestly have no idea if Update 4 added anything for it, and if it did, what it did, and if it doesn't have it added, like, what's it going to be used for? So, generally speaking, when I find that strange alien metal, there we go, the Sam ore, strange alien metal that glistens with new possibilities. Work in progress, this is not used. Well, there's your answer, folks. It's not used. We just figured out the answer, lickety-split. So limestone we can void. So I think what we're going to do is wrap up the episode here. We'll come back next time. We'll get miners set up over there, route... so the miners will be there. We'll route the conveyor belts over to here, and then we'll bring the concrete from there up to here, so we can combine it with this stuff and make the encased beams that we need. And then we'll start looking at automating the other parts. And then we also have a lot more to do with research, because once we unlock Tier 3 belts and some of that stuff, I want to check out power storage. I want to research more things in the MAM. There's some really important and useful stuff to research that I want to get into. We might want to go grab some quartz somewhere, and I wouldn't mind finding that other metal that we haven't discovered yet. Lots of things to do. So for now, Doll20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.